Why, my name's Friedel.
I'm Edward, and we are two geeks that are somehow moving further away from couches. I'm in the process of moving, and so I'm now just in my empty old office while I'm in transition here to watch a horror movie with my good buddy Friedel for your viewing pleasure. Internet
Viewing pleasure.
Internet viewing.
We're wholesome.
Things are just weird when you're watching people watch a movie on the internet. Maybe that's not weird. Maybe that's really cool.
I think it probably has something to do with entropy.
I want to watch people watch us watching movies on the internet. I would watch that YouTube channel.
Would also watch that YouTube channel. Subscribe.
If you need an idea for a YouTube channel, hit us up on Patreon. We got lots of them. What about someone watching you, watching us, watching? Yeah. All right. And we are going to be watching a movie recommended to us by our Patreon subscribers called Triangle from 2009. It looks like the only actor I recognize in this is Liam Hemsworth.
I thought you said Liam Neeson for a second.
I almost did. That's not this movie. That is a different movie. I'm sure Liam Neeson has done a time loop movie somewhere, right? Neither of us have seen this movie before, which is a rarity on this channel. Usually I've seen the movies. We're introducing Friedel to them. We all have a good time, but now you get to see just a genuine first-time reaction from both of us. Let's go. Let's watch this movie.
Do you know anything about this film, by the way?
I'm assuming, considering that it was recommended during our time loop time travel month, that there is probably either a time loop or a time travel in the movie, and that it is Bermuda Triangle related, because it looks like there's some boat business happening in this film.
Let's do this. Rated R, foul language, violence.
You know what? I would be disappointed if it wasn't rated R.
Let us know in the comments if you grew up hanging your clothes on an outdoor clothesline. Bonus points if you did it in Florida.
It'll just take forever to dry, right?
Jack? Did you see someone ring my doorbell?
Nope.
Everything is exactly the way it was before. Look, the floors are shiny. They're clean and shiny. Look.
So sorry we couldn't make it yesterday. Somebody was working late again. Greg, this is Heather. She's a very good friend of mine, and I just thought you guys should meet.
Can you just excuse me for a moment? What happened?
Awkward.
Well, listen, we don't have to go today if you don't want to.
No, we do.
This is Sally and her husband down. Hi.
Ominous seagull.
Seagulls can be ominous, especially if you're a Russian playwright. Bonus points if you drop in the comment what I'm talking about. For those boaters out there, I would love to know the difference between a boat and like a yacht. Like, when does a boat become a yacht?
When you put rich people on it?
Well, I asked Jess if she was all right, and you said no.
Well, you told me she was bringing a little boy along.
Yeah.
She stared into space for like 20 seconds, and then she said he's at school.
It's not good.
Sorry, I didn't realize how tired I was.
You apologize one more time, and I'm going to throw you overboard.
Kind of like him.
His boot, his rules, his boat. I can't talk. Maybe don't let her drive.
Oh, and she has an autistic son. But you know, that's not Greg's problem, that's hers. I'm kind of liking the boy. Can you please go up there and talk to Greg? I really think the two of you would be perfect for each other.
Someone transport her to the movie Jaws.
Sally, his wife, I know her from high school. I dated her for like 4 days in the 8th grade, so technically, she's my ex.
Maybe they think you're lonely.
When I come in to see you at the diner, I'm not lonely, I'm hungry. Let me take it for just a sec. I've never seen you like this before. But you can't be everywhere all of the time.
I was just wondering if I could steal Jess away from you. I'm not interested.
He's like, please don't.
Oh, what the fuck?
These people have like very low ranks in positive communication styles or tactics. Ominous sudden thunderstorms. winds. Technically, I think that if you're in the Gulf, ominous thunderstorms is like,
It's just par for the course, right? Like it's likely is what's gonna happen.
yeah.
Help me. Please help me. Killing everyone. I'm all dead.
We hear you.
It's not good.
None of this is awesome.
No.
This escalated very quickly.
You guys okay? Yeah. You all right?
Internet, tell us below. What's your favorite horror movie that features water as like a primary key element?
Or location or
Yes.
Jess, come on, come on. Hello? Hello?
We'll get the captain to put a call out to the Coast Guard.
I'm just gonna have this in this face the whole time.
it's a triangle face.
I'm wondering if the name of the ship that's just picked them up is actually a reference to the Greek god of the winds. And that Greek god would only like release the most ferocious of its winds at the command of other higher up gods, and basically was responsible for wreaking havoc on the world through the power of his winds.
That's fun. I mean, considering that wind was a bit of a story point not too long ago, I'm assuming that's probably referenced.
It is the same. See? Here's where we boarded.
How?
Oh, yeah. Whoever it was might want to come back for these.
These are mine.
What are you talking about?
They're mine.
Bullshit.
Wait, so you had them with you on the yacht?
Yes.
It's gotta be Heather.
Oh, come on.
Ominous thing on the ground.
Ominous thing on the ground.
I can show you the ground.
Oh, Greg, what time you got?
Where is everyone?
In the yeah.
I saw someone.
Don't do you're fucked now.
Just wait for Fate.
I think Victor's in danger.
I'm not worried about Victor.
I'm having deja vu every time I turn a
It
corner.
really is just gonna be this face.
Hello?
Oh, the claustrophobia is starting to set in. Like, whoa.
Are you just gonna ignore it?
I know guys that work on ships like this, you know? They see us, they get bored, they're just letting off some steam.
I'm getting off this ship.
Jess, fuck. Don't
Poor
you
Liam.
see that this is all just in
He
your
was the
mind?
first one out of here.
My world is waiting outside school for his mother to pick him up.
Jess, I'm sorry.
He's got very good eyebrows.
Just go to the theater.
Now they're all fucked because they're just all wandering around alone on this big ass ship.
Also, just pro tip 101, if you would like to co-regulate with someone, try empathizing with their experience instead of immediately gaslighting them and thinking they're crazy.
Well, but it's not a horror movie if there's no gaslighting.
But
That seems fine.
a very expressive. Exactly.
No.
Yeah, that didn't go.
You shot him! What? Get your hands off him! I didn't do it! I think I did it.
Why did you tell us to come
That was all oozy.
Time loopy shit. There's not gonna be anybody left. This is a very
No.
small cast.
What are we like 30 minutes in? Everybody's shot. Or it's gonna be one of those things where
36,
like these people keep showing up over and over and over again. I like it. I like it though. I like time loops. I mean,
Got good color palette.
right?
Hey, I'm glad to know I've got options.
Who are you? Tell me! The only way to
Interesting how the shot was reversed that time.
You all right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I know.
It's better on the other side of the book.
Can we just keep on moving?
Bridge, we'll find the skipper, and then we'll go home.
I saw someone.
Really interested to see how all this is gonna play out.
Yeah, me too. And as time loops go, it's a fairly short loop. Everyone just dies, reset.
How did you get here so fast?
Victor, you gotta listen to me. Downstairs, right now, is a copy of myself. Victor, we gotta get off this ship right now.
You're saying there's two of you now.
Yes, I knew something was wrong. I should have. Victor, it means you're gonna die. You'll die, and then Downey, and then Sally, and then Greg. I didn't do this.
What the fuck, Edward?
I have to listen. Stop. Don't let that go on. Please stop. I'm trying to kill him. Yes. Fuck you. Victor, this didn't happen before. Don't you see? You fucking
That king of my
move! I don't have to listen to you, Jess. Was it me that fired that shot at you? I don't know.
Whoa, please. Can we just take a breath here for a second?
If anyone comes, you shoot them.
I said, who is it? Jesus Christ, what the fuck happened to you?
If you want to live, you'll follow me. Not who you think.
It's not.
Sorry, but I love my son.
Come with me if you want to live.
Help me. Please help me. She's killing everyone. They're dead. Sally. Greg, can you hear me? Greg.
Can a medical professional tell me if you would be able to stand upright if you had just been stabbed in the stomach?
I swear. You're crazy. What are you doing?
We have loops within loops.
Yeah.
Right?
The triangle. I think it'll come back. If it does, we'll escape on it. Me and you together. Sally, I'm not gonna hurt you.
I'm okay. It's fine. It's fine.
If you hold on.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That's a hell of a way to go.
Return to
I drowning in your own previous dead body and seagulls? Yeah, not like.
She had blood on one side of her face, and then I killed her. I killed her on the
Seagull
front
Death
I'm gonna do you a
Spoon
favor,
would
okay?
be a pretty interesting name for a metal band.
Seagull Death Spoon.
Don't be scared, Victor. I can save you. I know how to save you.
Why don't you just it's fine.
She's only been through like what, 2 iterations, and she's already doing less well.
Hardly blame her.
I'm not. I would also not be doing well in this
No, I
situation.
don't. Yeah, she wasn't doing well round one.
It's all just in your mind. Ships don't just magically appear out of nowhere. They have skippers. I mean, I can go right now. I will go. Okay, just. Yes. What are you wearing?
And after I kill you, we'll return.
You know, why don't you just put down the gun first?
I won't let any of them board, even the other me. I'll make them all stay on the upturn yacht. I'm so sorry.
No!
Don't kill me.
fascinated to see where this is going.
Yeah. She knocks on the window and he spills his paint.
Find your things. You just
What?
leave them in the fucking garden. Oh, I'll just clean it up, shall I? One day off is all I ask. Just one fucking day off.
This took a turn.
It took several.
It's just turning in circles like a time loop. Jesus.
Come here. Come here, sweetheart. It's okay. Oh, you're just having a bad dream. That's all, baby. That's all it was.
Dude.
Mommy won't lose her temper anymore. Mommy's nice. Stay in the car. Mommy will bury it. See? There, it's gone. See? There.
Jesus.
Are you alright? There's nothing anyone can do that's gonna bring him back.
No, she keeps just trying to get it right, and she can't.
You will come back, won't you?
Yes, I promise.
Jess.
Come on, you're late. You okay?
I don't think so.
Listen, we don't have to go today if you don't want to.
No, I do. I want to go.
Dominus Seagull. That is so not where I thought that was going. It's very stern-faced. You have feelings?
Well, I'm questioning the use of a neurodivergent child as a mechanism to drive the plot towards the reasons why, like the connection between his neurodivergence and her abusive patterns, because what we don't actually see anything in the film that really points to that child being neurodivergent. We point to that, the things that are shown in that film are actually just a child being a child. Like a child is going to inevitably knock over something, even if they're not being startled by a copy of their mother who's just hit them in the face. So let's start there, right? Like a child, any child is probably going to respond poorly to a seagull being struck by the car and leaving blood behind. Like those aren't necessarily disproportionate responses. I don't think that they're responses that necessarily speak to a child's neurodivergence.
Sure.
And so,
I mean, I was wondering even if that's what they were really trying to go for, or what was going on there, because they didn't specifically spell it out.
They didn't specifically spell what out.
They didn't specifically say that he was neurodivergent, that character was neurodivergent.
Yeah, yes, they did. Earlier on in the film, they named that he has autism, that he is on the spectrum.
Okay.
And so
I totally missed that somehow.
I think that my initial response is I'm still trying to unpack the reasons why his autism is tied into her abuse patterns. As kind of this, I don't know whether they're trying to build empathy with the mom, or we're trying to actually like have like now this kind of like immediately like an immediate dislike of her, or an intensifying of a dislike of her where she is now the villain. That's a piece. And then the other thing is that I'm like, I think that in the beginning of the film, like she's talking about the Greg asks her, how are you, how's your son, and she says it's the same thing every day, right? And I think that like any parent, if they're being honest, might actually say that at different times during their parenting, where it just feels like this it does feel like a horrible time loop.
It does, actually.
right? And that like you don't necessarily like,
especially during a pandemic when everyone's just at home.
Right. And so I guess I think I understand the use of her abusive mechanism as a way of like driving the plot towards a motivation why her future self would want to kill her past self. But beyond that, it actually feels like, I'm not sure how I feel about it as a plot device.
Yeah, it's fair. It feels a little manipulative.
It feels a little manipulative, although I mean, unless I wish that there's a great deal of ambiguity around I think the allegory of the time loop. Like, unless what the director is really saying is that it is actually really difficult to break abusive patterns. You know, if that's kind of like the story that they're trying to tell of like, this is how, like for some people, this is how difficult it is to break abusive patterns.
Right. And you slip back into it.
There's this notion, it's a quote and I can't remember who said it, but basically like insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yes. You hear that one a lot in recovery, actually.
And so like, I mean, that gets handled in an interesting way in this film because she is accused of being crazy over and over and over again.
Right.
So that's what I'll throw into the pot. How about you?
It's so weird that I missed that. I mean, I've got a lot going on in my brain, so I guess that's probably how that happened. But yeah, so I'm trying to think about the film from that perspective. Like, how did I not miss that piece? Because I was kind of like wondering. I was like, are they trying to like hint at that, or is it just that he's a difficult kid? Like I didn't know how I was supposed to read that, and then the abuse was just really shocking. Yeah, it made me not like her. But I mean, I get that it gives her a bit of an arc, right? Like somewhere along the line on this, doomed time loop boat, she gained a conscience and decided to not be an abusive mother anymore, and that she was going to care and love for her son. And the outcome of her actions led to her son's demise, and so then she does it again to try to fix it, try to change it, try to do something else. I mean, I liked how they wrote the transformation of the character, because you're like, okay, how is she gonna get from like, sort of scared and running around the boat to like, Michael Myers in the like jumpsuit mask, killing people, and then it makes sense. The motivations all made sense. I never felt that any of that was particularly ridiculous, even if the abuse was shocking. I wasn't really ready for that. That made it kind of hard to watch, and and hard to be on her side, because I'm like, fuck you. Even your like turn towards sincerity and remorse and trying to change, like too little too late, right?
Well, I think that
maybe also what they're saying, I don't know. It is interesting. That's such an interesting character bit that they wrote in there. I think too I'm having trouble with it because it's not just not where I was expecting it to go.
And in that turn, it causes you to have almost like a very different backwards experience of the film, which is an interesting sort of like meta level mechanism, right? Because now I'm looking at the film backwards, which is weird. It also like, it calls to mind all of the places where Greg asked several times about her son and about her guilt. And really, right, like, part of, I think, breaking any abusive pattern in real life is to actually move beyond that guilt and shame. Naming it as the first step to taking accountability. Not naming it, she continues the cycle.
Right. I mean, it also plays like a punishment, right? Like, this is her hell. This is just going to go on forever. You're not ever going to get out of this. Which is horrifying. Perhaps an appropriate punishment for abusing your child.
So I think that recovery, or people who have done a lot of work on themselves or have been abusive to other people, I think that it doesn't even have to be abuse. I think that you can have I think you can just be a human being, and you can have a moment where you have treated somebody that you've loved in a shitty way. And what the ego or brain often does is it replays it over and over and over again in your mind. that
you wish you could change it.
I've read interviews with people who are abuse survivors where like one of the things that they say, they sort of defend their abusers often by saying, oh, that's not him. That's not her. That's not them. We see these dynamics where the abuser will say, that wasn't me, right? Like, I'm different. I'm going to get different. I will change. That's not who I am.
Which is
right?
exactly what she was saying, right?
Which is exactly what she was saying. And many of the reflective surfaces in the boat were shattered. So that when she is looking into them, they're fragmented. One of the things that we also know in psychology from like a Jungian perspective is that we can't actually break patterns until we're willing to integrate those parts of ourselves that we want to change. We actually have to be in radical acceptance of like, I did this shitty thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when you go to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? What's the first thing you do? You stand up and you say, you know, my name is so-and-so, I'm an alcoholic. You're admitting that part of yourself that you've probably been in denial about for.
Yes. Well, and that underneath and embedded in that statement is, I'm an alcoholic. And I am going to take accountability for all of the choices that I have made in relationship to my alcoholism, or in relationship to my drug addiction, or in relationship to my codependence, or in relationship to
that radical acceptance is the first step in a different direction. Yes. This conversation has made me like the movie more. It was well executed. It feels very indie, so I'm sort of impressed with what they pulled off from a filmmaking perspective. There's a lot of times where I could tell, like, okay, that's bad computer graphics, or that's, like you guys are doing your best with the budget you have, right? And I thought it largely worked, and yeah, I was sort of ready to kind of pick on this movie a little bit, but then because of the character stuff, but talking with you about it, I'm realizing that I think they did pull off what they set out to do. Seeing this as a punishment for her, as a reflection of that cycle of abuse that she can't break, it makes me like it a lot more. As a parent, watching abuse and watching these things happen to kids, that's real hard. It wasn't a very long movie. There was a good section where we didn't talk very much. We were just super into like wanting to see what happened and how it played out.
No,
I won't say what I was going to rate it, but I did bump it up a little bit in my head. Sure.
Because of our conversation.
Yeah, because I think there's more depth to it than I realized on just going through it. Talking about it added some depth, made me realize that, I think the filmmakers were leaning into some things there. But yeah, if you want to watch us watch more horror movies, hit the subscribe button, give us a like, come on back for more interesting conversation about films you maybe haven't even heard of. Or maybe you stumbled across this film streaming and you think it's awesome, and now you're happy that people are reacting to it on the internet. Who knows? But follow us along. We're always doing interesting things. And if you really want to dig deep, if you want voting power, recommendation power, on a level that floats above the rest, you want more of this, more conversation, more of everything, head on over to the Patreon. Link is in the description. There's a whole lot more of Two Geeks on the Couch. And, we've been going through a lot in the past couple months. We're trying to catch up. Bear with us.
Yes.
We're getting there. We're almost back on track here. So
slowly but surely.
Yeah, more to come soon.
Yeah, we're hoping that once both of us are settled into our new houses, because both of us are in the process of moving, it'll get a little bit more even keel again.
A little bit more predictable. Take care of yourselves.
And each other.
And we'll see you here next week for another horror movie on the same channel.
Indeed. Good night, y'all.